Hey guys, I'm Katie.
And I'm Kayleen.
We're the Book Buddies, and today we are finally doing the Book Thief review that we've been supposed to do for, what was it, like a month?
Well, I did say we were going to do it in October. It's still October. Assuming we get it edited and put up.
Maybe. Anyway. Okay, so the Book Thief is about a little German girl named Liesel Memminger in the years 1930.
Late 1930s, early 1940s.
So like the 1939, 1940, 43?
I think World War II ended in 42.
Or did it
Or did it start then?
No, World War II ended in 1945.
Really?
Uh-huh. I think so.
Well, we didn't pay attention in history.
Nope. Never.
One of my favorite subjects.
I don't pay attention to American history in any form, so. History, like world history, sure. American history, not so much. Anyway, okay. This is about a little girl in Germany from 1939, I guess. 1942, I'm guessing. I don't know. Just read it. I don't know. Anyway. And she steals books.
Yes, she steals lots of books. But basically the story starts when she's on a train with her mother and her brother, and she winds up in a foster home with Hans and Rosa Huberman, and just pretty much follows her story through World War II.
Yes. And her friends.
Yeah.
Stories, sort of. Kind of. Yeah. Anyway, I enjoyed the book. I really liked the book. I didn't think that it was probably as great as everybody else thought it was, but I still liked the book. So, there's that.
It was so depressing.
It was sad.
It was really depressing. Like, I was reading it, and, like, I started off, like, absolutely in love with it, and then it started getting depressing, and then I was, like, a few pages from the end, and I was just like, why does everyone like it so much? And then I read the ending, and I was like, 5 stars. Yeah, definitely.
My problem with the book really was that it took me so long to read. It took me the entirety of the month to read, and it felt like it kind of dragged for me, but it's like, because it's a heavy book, it would be weird if it was a fast read. At the same time, I was like, oh god, I've read 4 pages, it's been like an hour. I'm a slow reader anyway, so that's like really intense. Like,
we tried to space it out, like, we'd read, like, 20 chapters a month. Wow!
That took us 80 months.
20 chapters a week, and
80 months? That's not
I
right.
always wound up reading the 20 chapters, like, Sunday night.
I didn't even do
because we
that.
started every Monday, and so
I'd read like 4 chapters a week and be like trying to catch up on Sunday, and it didn't work very well.
But we did finish it before the month was over.
That's true.
We just didn't finish the video.
Yeah, and she finished like a few days before I did.
Yeah.
I was like panicking because I was like, I'm not gonna get this done. I'm not going to. This is so hard.
The other complicated part of trying to read 20 chapters a week, there's no actual chapter numbers. So we're like literally going page by page counting.
And like we would be like 2 or 3 chapters off
from each other. Yeah, I'd be like,
other.
okay, we're reading to this, right? And she's like, you'd be like, I thought we were reading to this. It's like,
yeah, so it'd be like, wait, which one's the 20th chapter? So I'd like go back and recount, and I'd be like, I can't tell. I think I lost count like twice. And I'd go back and recount again, and I was like, ah!
I literally had to count out loud. It's like 1. And then like, some of them are short and some of them are long. So sometimes it'd be like 1, flip a couple pages, 2, flip 15 pages, 3.
flip 42 pages. Kidding, not that many. But it was like it was hard, and it was like I would try to count. There are parts in here, so I would like try to count which like.
But even those didn't.
Chapters were in that part, but even those didn't. Yeah, they didn't even line up, because sometimes there was a part in it that wasn't put in the featured, or a chapter that wasn't in the featured on this part thing page. Yes. I don't know. So, that was difficult. We probably should have just done pages.
Yeah.
Instead
but
of
then I didn't want to finish in the
chapters.
middle of a chapter because that would
Yeah,
have been weird.
that would have been strange, but it
If we
probably
ever
would have
do
been
this-
easier.
I think if we ever do this again, a requirement of the book needs to have a table of contents.
Or chapter numbers at least,
Yes.
because that was
Well,
really
even then,
hard.
if it has a table of contents, you can just look and be like, oh, it has this many chapters.
I haven't seen a book in a long time that had a table of contents though. That wasn't like an old book.
Nancy Drew. They all
Don't
have
they?
a table of contents.
Have I ever
But then
read-
all the chapter numbers are in Roman numerals.
I can't read that many. I don't think. I can read to like. Well, actually, I can read pretty far because Percy Jackson chapter numbers are in Roman numerals. There's a series we could read together because it has a table of contents.
I have the first book.
I know.
I'd have to borrow the second one from the library.
This is Percy
Read more
Jackson's my
comics.
favorite series. Wait, why are we talking about that? The Book Thief. Oh my gosh.
And now you have insight into our conversations in real life.
Our horrible, ridiculous conversations in real life.
But
Anyway. Okay. Let's just do rating for it, okay? Let's do rating.
I kind of already said my rating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah, so did I. Well, sort of. Like, I'm not sure.
Didn't you give it like 4.5
I
and
gave it, like-
round it up?
Yeah, I think I gave it like 4.5 or 4 and like a little bit more than a half or something, because there were a couple things in the book that I didn't like very much, so I could like give it a 5-star rating.
So what were the things you didn't like?
That it took me so long to read.
Yeah.
And some of the characters. And Liesl was very whiny, it felt like. And I was like. Or maybe not whiny, but she was kind of blah sometimes. So I was like, Liesl, come on.
Her character seemed really strange to me because, like, when she was at home and, like, with Rosa, it was always just, like, very timid and quiet.
Yeah.
And then she'd go out with her friends as, like, completely different person. Like,
Yeah, and even with, like, Hans, she was totally different. So I was like, I can't really tell
Which, like, it kind of makes sense because you're
Yeah.
different with different people, but it was such a contrast. It was weird. It's like
It
you
was
had,
really
like,
weird.
3 different characters.
And yeah, and when she was in her house, she was very blah, unless she was with, what's his name?
Max.
Max. So, she kind of got on my nerves a little bit. And the way that she treats Frau Diller just made me so mad.
Like...
She got so mad and like said all that stuff to her. Or was it Frau Diller? That wasn't Frau Diller, that was the mayor's wife. Which one is she? What's her name?
Maris.
I can't remember her name. But
What is her name? No, Frau Diller was the shopkeeper. that
Yeah.
had the picture of
She
Hitler.
was mean.
I was like, what happened
I
there?
didn't like her very much. But I can't remember. But the mayor's wife, the way she treats the mayor's wife just made me so mad, especially since the mayor's wife had been so nice to her.
Yeah.
That just made me angry. I was like, you spoiled little... Anyway, that was our rating. Those were the reasons I personally did not give it a 5-star rating. And I did enjoy the book. But I don't think it's as amazing as everybody thinks that it is.
I think the only thing I really didn't like about the book is just, like, the narrator was very spoilery.
He was.
In the middle of the book, it's just like, I don't like mystery, so this is what happens. And you're just like...
But at the same time, it's creating mystery because you're like, then how did that happen?
Yeah, how
Because he
does it
doesn't actually
happen?
tell you how it happened. He just tells you it did. And it's like... Okay, then.
The thing I really loved about the book was just, like, the style that it was written in. Like, just some of the phrases and stuff, I
It
just
was
read
really-
them, and it's just like, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you come up with this stuff?
This guy, Markus Zusak is a very, very, very good writer.
But just like, he would describe things and it'd be like when Liesel first sees the mayor's wife, she knocks on the door, the mayor's wife opens the door. Most people, like, I would describe that, I'd be like, she opened the door and she had a bathrobe on and that was it. No, he was like, a bathrobe answered the door. Like, you read it and you're like, say what? But like, the more you think about it, like, the more you read it, it's just like, wow. It's just, I liked how it was really so different the way he did it.
I haven't seen somebody write like that before. And I liked that the narrator had his own personality and wasn't necessarily a character in the story. I mean, he was to an extent, but he wasn't, like, focal point.
He didn't play a part in the story.
Yeah, he was just kind of there. And I liked that he had his own personality, because that was interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that where it wasn't, like, a first-person point of view speaking.
Yeah.
So, I liked it. That was good. This is really, really rambly. I realized we're not good at this.
There's one very incredibly spoilery part that I want to talk about. It might be the rest of the video.
Cut now.
If you haven't read it, don't. Just leave, okay?
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Okay, spoilery part. When everybody dies.
That was depressing.
It was incredibly depressing. And then, like, okay, the spoilery part for death, like, when he tells everyone what's gonna happen, like, the chapter where he says that Rudy's going to die, that killed me on the inside. I reread that
freaking out.
I reread it, like, 3 times, and then I texted Katie, and I was like, have you read this yet? And she's like, no, and I'm like, you need to read it.
And I was still, like, 4 or 5 chapters away from it, and, like, one of the chapters before it was, like, 20 pages long, and I was like, oh my gosh. Why is she freaking out? I need to know, but I don't want to.
So, like, when you finally got to it, like, what was your reaction?
I, like, just stared at the book for, like, 2 minutes. I was like... And then I texted you, and you were like, right? I was like...
I was in the middle of class when I read it, and I was just like, no, that can't be right. Go back, reread. No, that was right. And then when it actually happens, and it's talking about it, and it's just...
that was really sad, but I really love the ending because Max is okay, and Liesel is okay, and it's like...
I didn't know it was possible to have a happy ending when so many people that you, like, care about and get attached to die.
But that was actually a surprisingly happy ending.
Yeah, that's kind of why I gave it 5 stars, is because you go from so depressed, and then in the ending, it's like...
Yeah, and it's like, because... I loved Max, and I was really happy that Rudy's dad, I can't remember his name right now, Rudy's dad still had Liesel, and Liesel still, Mr. Steiner, still had Liesel, so that was nice, and then Max, like, just walks into the shop, and I was like, whoa, yes, yay, and then she ends up in Australia somehow. Was that where it was?
It was either Australia or Austria. I don't remember. I was thinking Australia.
I thought it said Australia.
It probably could be Australia. Honestly, it probably could.
It could be Austria too, because that's really... Except I don't think that a German would be allowed, and would they have... They might have been allowed.
Austria's really close to Germany, though.
Australia is not.
Austria is.
Oh.
And oh yeah. And another part that I really liked. Okay, when they bombed Himmel Street, and then Death picked up her book because she dropped it and she thought she lost it forever. I loved it in the end when he gave it back to her. I was like, she finally got it back!
But I thought it was so interesting because he's like, you humans scare me. And I was like, what?
We scare you?
I was like, how? We can't even hurt you. We can't even see you. In fact, you kill us.
No, he just...
He doesn't kill us, but he...
Oh, that reminded me when you first texted me, and you're like, so I think narrator... Well,
yeah,
how did you say that?
I think I know who the narrator is. Or something like that.
Yeah, she's like, is it Death? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, yeah, because he likes to carry souls in his arms a lot.
I was like, 'cause that's kind of creepy. I was like, I don't think if I was that would not be my hobby. Just saying. Okay, we've got to wrap up the video. This was fun.
Yeah.
And rambly. And we'll probably We'll probably cut a lot of this out.
But hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Because this was fun.
Yes, it was. And
I probably will not be doing a review by myself because I'd spoil everything. Because this... But she might. I don't know.
possibly.
I probably won't. Anyway.
But anyway,
We will see y'all later.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Dang it, phone! Have that like going off in the back.